This is the Jack of All Podcast, Malachai's Madcast edition. All right, everybody. As you can hear, I am sick today, so I apologize for my voice sounding just terrible. I hope it doesn't mess things up too bad, but plans were made. Malachai came over to the place today. He put me in an arm lock and took over the podcast. There was nothing I could do about it. So here it is. I hope you guys enjoy. We had a great time. We talked about some weird history stuff, and we talked about he's got a wrestling career that has spanned over 32 years, and he just has the funniest stories, all kinds of great stuff. Like one day we're at work, and they put these motivational sayings on the wall, and he's like, look at this crap. It says, your work is only as good as you look. And he starts pointing to himself. He's like, my work is completely screwed then. He's hilarious. I love talking with this guy. He's got the funniest things to say. So I think we'll do some more of these, and we'll get all these stories out of Malachai and let him kind of run the place for a little bit. So I hope you guys enjoy. See, you guys can find anything that I am doing at jackofallpodcast.com. I'm on YouTube, Facebook, all of that good stuff. Check it all out. The music I have backing the podcast today, I chose it specifically because this band, it's Labels Like Minds. It's a band that I used to listen to when I was in high school, and the venue that they'd play at all the time, and it was really fun, was a wrestling ring in downtown Marion, this beat up old crazy little place that they put a wrestling ring in, and we just had the funnest times down there. I mean, they were all over the place in Marion, and just great punk shows all the time, and I loved it. I get super reminiscent for those days, so I'm pumped that I got in touch with them, and they said that I could go ahead and use this for the podcast. Thank you guys. I love it, and enjoy the podcast, everybody. Go, Jack of All Podcast, or are you taking over? What are we doing?
Oh, this is the Malachai Madcast, pal.
All right, man. Let's get into it. So, Malachai, tell me a little bit about you. What's going on, man? I know you're a wrestler. It was pretty cool. I was watching some videos of you earlier. Newer stuff, though. I couldn't find anything old, so you've been in this game for a long time, right?
Oh, yeah. I started in 1986.
Nice. That's 2 years before I was even born.
I just turned 18, and I paid $1,500 to go down to Anderson, Indiana, and get beat up for 6 months.
Nice. I'm like getting your butt kicked.
Yeah, the first 2 months of it was just them throwing you around like a Dixie cup, and you had to learn how to not get hurt.
Right? Learn to fall, right?
They figured if you lasted through the first 2 months and you made it into the third month, they'd train you a little.
Nice. So where'd you head into from there? I mean, getting your butt kicked.
Well, my career was a little anticlimactic because immediately I was on TV.
Okay, awesome.
Immediately, I'm 18 years old. I'm on TV, and I was a little young guy everybody beat up.
Nice.
For like the first 2 years, you pay your dues.
You were a little guy then?
I was only 215 pounds. I'm just a little bit above that now.
Right.
just a skosh.
And some of those guys are beasts, man. They're huge.
And I figured, you know what? These guys toss me around way too easy, so I had to get bigger. And the last 8 years, I wrestled at 265.
Heck yeah.
Now I'm a skosh bigger than that right now. Just a little bit, just a teeny bit. And I wrestled from 1986. I was active till 2002. My last show was in Fort Wayne, Indiana, at the Sunset Hall Event Center in February of 2002.
Nice.
Afterwards, not in the ring, I broke my neck.
Eee, how'd you do that?
You wouldn't believe me if I told you.
No.
This is the kind of stuff that only happens to me. I broke it sleeping.
What?
Sleeping. Kid you not.
I don't know, cinder block or what?
I went to bed feeling fine, woke up with a broken neck.
What
Thought
the
I had a
heck?
pinched nerve. I'm like,
Right.
oh, man, that's a little painful. So when you're in the independents, you always have a real job fall back on because you need health insurance. There is no way.
Yeah.
Even in the WWF, they don't have health insurance.
Right.
They're on the hook for their own medical.
That's kind of crazy because you're getting your butt kicked all the time.
Oh yeah, it's extreme, and these guys are doing 5 to 6 matches a week all year long. No off season, no downtime.
That's crazy.
And the way the big leagues work with contracts is they tell you you're going to be doing this many matches a week for you're on the contract for 2 years or 1 year or whatever. So then they just start making you wrestle 5 matches a week.
Gee.
Well, let's say a month in you have an injury.
Yeah.
You have an injury and you start missing shows.
Yeah.
Then what they do is they sue you for breach of contract and get their money back because they don't care about you.
Right. That's so vicious.
Yeah. It's a very, they grind up wrestlers and spit them out.
Yeah, that's brutal.
Spit them out. I had 2 chances. 2 chances I had over the course of my career, and to tell you how fickle the business is, they came very, very far apart. My first chance was my manager was contacted in 1988 by somebody from at the time the WWF.
Okay.
Which is now WWE because the World Wildlife Federation kicked their butt in court. So bite that, Mr. McMahon. So, and they approached my manager in this fashion. They said, well, we kind of like Malachai. He's got a good character and a good ring persona, but we need him to bulk up.
Yeah, yeah.
We need him to bulk up. And my manager's like, what do you mean? Well, you could take steroids and get ripped.
Oh, sure.
And in the late 80s, all we knew about steroids was they shrunk your junk.
Right.
And I look at my manager, I said, well, nobody ever woke up saying, you know what, I think my junk could be smaller.
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
which kind of ties into our topic.
Yeah.
Being lighter in that area.
We'll get into.
Being lighter in that area. So I passed that down. Now, it was in 1988. Then I stay in the Midwest Independents, and I'm all over. I hit 7 different states at one time or another, and I did a couple shows up in Canada.
Cool.
My next chance is in 2001.
Jeez.
All right? I'm doing a hardcore match in Dowagiac, Michigan at an armory.
Okay.
I've got a wonderful story about that particular show too. But I was approached by the AWA at that point.
What's the AWA?
It used to be one of the really, really big leagues. But what they did was instead of running it as a national thing, they run it by regions.
Okay, cool.
It used to be coast to coast. AWA and NWA hold almost all the attendance records for events.
Okay, nice.
National Wrestling Alliance and American Wrestling Alliance.
Cool, awesome.
And I just done this hardcore match in Dowagiac, Michigan at this armory. And they came back and we had 3 of the guys that me and my brother trained on this show, and one of them was a referee who was just crazy as hell. So they come back, they say, hey, somebody wants to talk to you. And they introduce them to me, and my referee's standing there with me, and he's like, yeah, man, that's awesome. I'm like, what? I go, okay, so what do you want from me? You have to be clear with these people.
Right.
They said, well, we want you to go under contract to do hardcore matches.
Okay.
They said, we really like what you did. I'm like, okay, how many matches are we talking a week?
Right.
And they said, 4 to 5.
And a hardcore match is like
that's
the
where you get
toughest
beat
shit,
with
right?
stuff.
Yeah,
you get beat with
get
stuff,
hit
and
with
you get
chairs
stitches
and
all the
stuff,
time,
and
your nose gets broke.
Oh,
They
jeez.
throw weapons in the ring for you two to beat each other with. And I'm 35 years old at the time, right? And I'm like,
I'm starting to feel this, guys.
and while I'm talking to these guys, my referee's going off. He goes, yeah, Malachai's awesome. You can beat him with a cinder block, and he don't care. I'm like, shut up! Don't help me here. Don't help me.
I can hurt myself. Thank you.
I said, so you want me to do 4 to 5 hardcore matches a week, and that's it? And they said, yeah. I said, well, how about if I do some regular matches, and I do hardcore? No, we only want you for hardcore.
Right.
I said, I'm 35 years old. I give myself 2 months, and I'd be hurt.
Yeah.
I said, and this was afterwards. In retrospect, it was within 6 months of me having to quit anyway because of the injury
Right.
that I just told you about.
Yeah,
sleeping.
breaking your neck.
And,
hardcore sleeper.
Yeah. Well, I worked at my regular job. I took my kid fishing, who was 5 years old at the time,
Uh-huh.
and I went to bed feeling fine.
Yeah.
And I woke up and I had just shooting pain from my neck clear down my arm. I'm like, man, something's wrong. I think I got a pinched nerve.
Right.
So what happens? I'm sitting around just like, oh, this is a Sunday morning. I'm like, man, I feel like hell. And my brother calls up. My brother's moving. And he says, hey, man, I need your help. I'm like, what do you need my help for? He says, well, I'm moving. I can't get these two guys I have helping me. We can't get this sleeper couch down from the upstairs apartment. I need your help. And I'm like, well, dude, I got a pinched nerve or something, you know?
Right.
I said, I'm only one-handed. He says, well, you with one hand is better than these two jokers with two, so get over here. So I
Bring
go
the
over and
muscle
we get the thing loaded up. I go back to sleep Sunday night. I'm not getting out of bed Monday morning.
Yeah, you moved with a broken neck.
and now I'm like, well, now I got to call in to work. I got to call in. I got to see my doctor. And my doctor knows that if I'm in his office, it's probably something that's going to kill me. I don't sweat small stuff. I've had way too many stitches. I mean, I carry way too much scar tissue to be a sissy.
Nice.
And
that's a good one.
That's a wonderful story in and of itself.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I've had, by the time I was 9 or 10, my parents had to get me stitched up every single 3-4 times every summer. If I didn't get stitches in my head or break a bone, now I never broke it like an arm bone. I was always wrists, fingers, stuff like that.
Break all the little stuff.
So I call up my doctor. I said, man, I'm feeling rough. He said, well, come in and we'll check you out. So I drive to my doctor.
Mm-hmm.
They take an x-ray and he goes, man, I don't know what you did, but your neck is jacked up. I'm like, well, thanks, doctor. That doesn't make me feel good.
Oh, great.
He says, we need to send you for an MRI. Mm-hmm. So I get in my car. This is key that I'm driving around this whole time.
Nice little Kia.
I get in my car and I drive to Warsaw, where I have an MRI.
Uh-huh.
And they say, well, go home, and when the MRI comes in, we'll call.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll see what you have to do next. So I go home. The next day, my doctor calls up. He says, man, we got to get you to a surgeon.
Right.
I'm like, what? He goes, yeah, we checked out your MRI. And he says, you. So I go and I get my MRI.
Uh-huh.
Now, I drive from North Manchester, Indiana to Fort Wayne, Indiana to
like
the surgeon.
30 minutes, 40 minutes or something, maybe.
Yeah, it's about a 40-minute drive.
Yeah.
I go in there. They take me into the office. I sit down on this table, and he's over here. Yeah, he's over here. And he puts my MRI on a light board, and all he says is, wow. And I'm like,
that's not what I want to hear.
What do you mean, wow? He says, come here and check this out. So I get over there, and he's going down my spine. You know, it shows you the top view.
Yeah, sure. I've not seen one, but...
And it shows you the top view, and it shows your spinal cord in there.
Okay, that's creepy, but awesome.
And he starts at the top, and he shows me it all. He says, you see, this is fine, this is fine, this is fine. Then he got right down here, and there's a little scar here.
Uh-huh. Like down by your collarbone on the front there.
And he says, the vertebrae went like this.
Hey,
and they were pinching my spinal cord off to 40%.
Ooh.
This is actually considered a spinal cord contusion.
Right? Yeah, that's messed up. Did it actually cut it at all then, or
no? It was pinching it off. And he goes, I don't understand. I'm like, well, what don't you understand? He says, I don't understand how you could drive. He said, you should be paralyzed.
Walk, or He
says, how did you drive all the way up here? I said, well, let me tell you right now, Doc. You cannot figure out how I'm driving home, too, because I got nobody to pick me up. So then I drive home, and I wait 5 days.
What?
The next 5 days is me walking slowly around my house.
Yeah.
Drinking coffee and smoking cigarettes and never sitting down. Not 1 week. I couldn't sit down. Because if I laid down or sat down, I didn't think I was getting back up.
Right. Yeah, it probably hurt so much to curl back up or, curl on out of bed.
So I walked slowly around my house for 5 straight days. Not 1 second of sleep. My boy was following me around most of the time. And like,
he's probably ready to catch you.
You need a pop, Dad? You need a pop? I'm like, I don't need a pop. So then I go for the surgery. And when they do that, they put it in. I've got like titanium and screws, 4 screws, and And they said this was a really strange area of the neck. Usually the neck injuries are up higher.
Right.
And when they have to like fuse and work on spines, it's usually your lower back.
Right.
And up closer to your head. I mean, this is right here. So they go in through
down
the front.
in there almost below your collarbones and stuff.
And they move all this stuff over to the side and they put that stuff in there.
That's gross.
Yeah. And they ruined my karaoke voice.
Oh.
I love karaoke.
It must have been beautiful, wasn't it?
It was, well, I won at the company picnic that I work at, third place singing Queen one time.
Nice.
And that's with them after they stretched out my vocal cords and ruined my karaoke. And that didn't make me happy.
No, right? No, that's
so then they
kind
said
of horrifying.
They said at the time, they look like somebody hit you with a baseball bat.
Right?
I said, well, I think I would have woke up for something like that. I'm a pretty light sleeper. And we never figured it out.
Right.
When my boy stayed with me, though, he shared my bed. We split a house with my cousin. And when he stayed with me, he just slept with me. And he flopped around like a fish out of water.
You like karate kicked you in the neck or something?
He must have like hit me with an elbow or a knee or something when
man.
I was totally relaxed.
Yeah, you were probably laying there just right and just snap. Oh.
And I'm used to him flopping around. Well, that was the second time I broke my neck.
Oh yeah? What was the first?
When I was 9 years old. That kept me out of the military.
Young. Yeah, no kidding.
They told me when I was 18 I went to the recruiter because I wanted to get in the Army. And then they got a hold of my medical records and they said, we think you're a cripple.
Oh, sure.
I'm like, okay. And then I said, well, I can't be in the military. So I became a professional wrestler. I figured that was pretty good for a cripple.
Heck yeah. Yeah, for a cripple, it's pretty awesome.
I'm pretty mobile now for being crippled when I was 9.
I seen you get clothesline earlier and you're still not crippled, so you're badass, man.
Yeah, so I got into the wrestling. And I'm rambling and hitting around on stuff. And then my two chances come 1988, 2001.
Uh-huh.
There's 50 million people out there in the independents right now, and every single one of them thinks they're going to be in the WWF.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, not likely.
Yeah. The chances don't come often, huh?
It's not easy. It's not easy to go from the independents into the big leagues.
Yeah, a lot of guys wanting to get in.
A lot of matches and a lot of time under the bridge on my 2 shots, and I turned them both down. What's wrong with me? What's wrong with me?
Man, yeah, it's got to be so hard to get into the big leagues. I mean, first of all, you've got to be a fit badass and be willing to do it and be able to put the time in, not get injured and not get screwed out of it because of that. And then, I mean, just the idea of having, providing for all the fitness and everything, making yourself capable of doing it, and then being like, oh yeah, I don't need the job and everything that made this possible up until now. I'll dive right in. You find yourself injured a year later and you're screwed.
There's many more people that they bring up, put on a couple of shows and wash out than hang around for any amount of time in the WWF. It used to be the WCW, TNA. They grind up people and spit them out, and they have no concern.
Yeah.
No concern for.
It's unfortunate.
I mean, there's a whole website of wrestlers that have died younger than I am right now.
Right.
They have heart issues because the lifestyle is so extreme.
Yeah,
You're traveling
for sure.
Constantly.
Yeah.
And
crazy
30
physical
minutes,
stuff.
20 to 30 minutes in the ring is more of a drain than any workout you can think of simply because of the adrenaline.
Well, and beating up on your body, like I was thinking about, like, you get again in this video earlier, you get clothesline and like you fly back and land on your back, and that stuff tears you up, man. Having your muscles and everything smack the ground and all that, like that's hardcore.
Well, what I always told people, I said, well, there are times when that knocks your junk out.
Right.
But then there are other times if you land right, that it knocks your junk right back in.
I feel better.
I said, it's a 50-50. It could make you feel better, could make you feel worse.
You hit the ground, get back up. Oh, now you're screwed.
And when you've been around as an independent wrestler, and when people start getting you get some name recognition, then you go out to the bar, then there's always some drunk bastard.
Oh, right.
That wants to challenge the professional wrestler.
Right.
It's fake and it's blah. I can.
Shh. Whatever, dude.
I always told him the same thing. I said, look. You're a big dude, because it's always a big dude.
Right.
Running up. Little guys are not going to, it's just not going to happen. So
yeah, you got to be
they're
totally
like,
insane at that point.
Wrestling's fake. You guys suck. And I say, okay, I'll tell you what, man.
Yeah.
Here, I'll tell you right now. You're a big boy. I said, this is a tile floor.
Yeah.
If you can pick me up, I'll let you body slam me right here.
Right.
But when I get up off the floor, it's my turn.
Yeah. Yeah.
I said, I know I'll get up off the floor. Let's see how you fare.
Right. Yeah, that stuff hurts.
It's not easy.
No, hitting the ground hurts.
And
Here, flip that thing back in and down on you, man.
yeah. Oh, sorry.
Nah, you're good.
And it's like I'd wrestle 3-4 times. I'd be traveling all over the Midwest, and then I'd get in bar fights. I sometimes fought 3 times a night and only got paid for 1.
Yeah, that's nice. Perfect. Yeah.
I considered it training.
Sure. That's brutal though.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's tough. Like I said, man.
Right here in Fort Wayne.
Right.
I frequent a bar here in Fort Wayne that the owners were friends of Dick the Bruiser, Richard Afflis.
Okay.
One of the most famous wrestlers ever.
Yeah.
And they all know me as Malachai there. I go in there, it's like, hey, Malachai, and beers just pop up in front of me. I'm sitting there one day, and down the bar from me is this guy. He's like 6'4", 6'5", from New Jersey.
Okay.
And he heard him call me Malachai, and he's like, what's up with that? And the bartender says, well, he's a wrestler.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there, I'm watching whatever sports. I go in there, watch sports. And this guy kept coming up to me, he goes, hey, Malachai. I'm like, what? He goes, they have big picture windows at the bar, the back of this bar, and it used to set right on the riverbank before they put the deck out there.
Okay, yeah.
And he says, what if I broke your legs and threw you out the window? I'm like, whatever, pal, hey, whatever. I'm like, I'm just here drinking.
Yeah, right. What?
After about 2 hours of him keep coming by and saying that to me, I hear, hey, Malachai. And I look to my left like this, and he's standing with his back to those picture windows. He says, come over here. I'm like, okay. He goes, you're a wrestler, right? I said, yeah. He says, well, what would you do if I do this? And he went to hook me to body slam me, but I got my arm in first. And I had my arm, I put my arm over his head like this, and I put my arm between his legs like this. I just went, so now I'm holding this guy, and the bartender, it's the middle of the day. There's like 6 or 7 people in there. Now, everybody knows this guy's been bugging me the whole time.
Right.
And they're thinking, I think Malachai's going to throw this guy out the window. So now I'm holding this guy, and I'm looking out the window, and I'm like, I don't want to get kicked out of my favorite bar.
Right.
And he's not saying nothing now. He's just like, he got quiet as a church mouse. And I'm looking out that window, and it's going through my head. I think this was in 2004. This was after I was actually retired. I said, I think I can spin around and power slam him right here on this floor, and I don't even think I'll hit a chair or anything.
Right.
I'm trying to calculate it in my mind as it's going. Now, the bartender, she's like, don't do it, Malachai.
Yeah, someone's going to get hurt.
Don't do it. and I'm telling the guy stuff like, I'm like, dude, I'm not even going to break your legs. I want to see you try to swim when you hit the river.
Right.
Way down there. And then finally, I just whispered softly in his ear. I said, dude, I'm calm. Are you? He goes, I am now. And I put him down, and that guy bought me like beers for the rest of the evening.
He wasn't just some random guy the whole time?
Just some guy from New Jersey who,
just
people from New Jersey, if you've never been there.
Oh, yeah, I've been there.
They have the worst attitudes of all. And I kept telling this guy, dude, you're not in New Jersey anymore. Nobody really cares.
Yeah, calm down, dude. What do you got to prove here?
Well, I'm going to break your legs and throw you out the window. Okay, whatever, man. Just go back and drink your beer, will you?
Yeah.
But it's stuff like that all the time.
Oh, yeah.
So, I don't even know where I was. I like to ramble about wrestling.
Oh, man. Yeah, that's where we were. We were rambling about wrestling, just kind of talking about your career and stuff.
So I retired in 2002, and then last year I started telling people, I said, I'm getting bored.
Yeah.
I'm getting bored. I'm going to get back in the ring. Nobody believed me. The people at work, nobody believed me. They,
I was wondering because you always talked about wrestling and stuff.
Yeah,
but
and then when I did, they were surprised. And a bunch of them showed up at my first show, and they loved it. And now I got people at work that see, people just are upset because I turned 50 this year, and people still pay to see me in tights. It's a wonderful thing. A wonderful thing. I can't help it. They don't pay to see you in tights.
Right.
Yeah, it's not my fault. And I tell people that
I
said, this is awesome. People pay to see me in tights at 50. I wouldn't. I don't like the way I look in tights. And some of the females at work are like, yeah, and I'll pay the next time you go wrestle too. I'm like, yeah. It's good to be the Malachai.
Heck yeah.
So we're going to get into this topic for today. It's a local topic.
Some local history. It's history time. So, all right, Edward Bodkin is the subject today. So this guy was, let's see here. He was arrested in 1998 for performing and videotaping castrations at his home without a license. So,
yeah, a little nip and tuck.
Yeah. So that's how he got started, right? So he actually even I'm not really sure what he advertised in this, and I don't even know how this exists, but he advertised in Ball Club Quarterly.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that exists. There's a magazine called Ball Club Quarterly.
Well, it did exist.
Yeah, it did exist.
They closed it down relatively quickly.
God, I need to see an issue of that. I can't imagine the great comedy that lies in that thing. So, yeah.
So he advertised and people came to him.
Yeah, it was all voluntary stuff, and but he was just I think this is correct. He was just kind of raised at I think he grew up on a farm in Kokomo.
I think he grew up on a farm in Kokomo. Yeah, he was not a med school person.
And all this info is just you can look all this stuff up online. None of this is I'm not citing anything because it's all just kind of all over the place. Just a quick search and you can find any of this stuff. But pretty wacky. There's some people online too that get pretty brutal on this guy. And so all right, let's get down to what the wackiness they found was though. So they found jars containing 9 testes in his fridge.
Yeah, 5 jars containing 9 testes.
Yeah, 9 because
and my
1,
question
2,
about
3,
that.
9.
And they were also marked whether they were left or right testicles.
Dude, really?
That's what I got in mind. And I'm thinking jars in a refrigerator.
They were trophies.
Yeah, they were trophies.
I don't.
What are the chances that those were ball mason jars?
Dude.
Ball mason jars. Wonderful company based here in Indiana.
Right? Yeah.
Everybody knows. They had to be balls.
Oh, it's a wonderful Indiana
jars.
Story.
They had to be
Indiana balls in Indiana jars.
You don't put that stuff in Tupperware. It's got to be a ball mason jar, man. The good stuff. Only the good stuff.
Oh, that's so jacked up. I wonder if he had to can them first, heat them up.
Yeah, and another question I have is, okay, we know they were in the jars, but what was in the jar? Were they in formaldehyde? Were they in embalming fluid? Because that would mean one thing. But if it were like in a ranch sauce,
right,
or a pickle juice, it would
Maybe
mean a totally other, wouldn't it?
No, okay, so, dude, who knows? Because well, no, we'll go on to that. Who knows? Because he had been doing this for his roommate said 4 years that his roommate knew about it. So they found 9, and he ended up admitting to castrating 5 men. 4.5 men? Yeah, so the one guy had to go to the hospital because of excessive bleeding. He was going to bleed out because he fucked it up on his...
Have you ever heard of the rodeo song?
No.
Oh, you've never heard of the rodeo
song?
I mean,
maybe.
You'll have to look that up sometime.
Okay.
The rodeo song is the one that goes, well, here comes Johnny with the pecker in his hand. He's a one-nut man, and he's off to the rodeo. You've never heard that one? It's out there. Check it out. Google search it.
Okay.
It's got to be the Bodkins theme song.
Right.
It's got to be.
Nice.
And it's like that. You know how they always, when they interview these people that do these crazy things, their neighbors and their co-workers, they're always like, well, he seemed normal to us.
Yeah, he was a nice guy. His roommate said he was a smart guy.
He was a smart guy, always willing to help out a neighbor. It's not the case with this Bodkins dude. I can remember when they were interviewing, because I lived here at the time.
Uh-huh.
And I can remember when they were interviewing his coworkers, and they were like, yeah, he was crazy. You have no idea how whack this dude was, man. He was crazy. He brought his lunch to work in Purina cat chow containers.
That's disgusting.
So I'm not thinking that he's doing this for, to provide a scientific service. It's not like a backyard.
No.
It's not like the old backdoor abortions.
Right? Yeah. Well, okay. So maybe this was something I came across. Maybe he was just kind of helping out transgender people who at the time couldn't get these things done. Because I was looking into the laws of castration and stuff. And first of all, even just finding what the heck the rules are on it are really confusing. I don't have the time to even figure it out too far. But it seems to me that it's kind of illegal except for like serial sex offenders. They would mandate them to have castrations, but I don't. Or for medical necessity. But outside of that, I don't think the process was legal at all. So maybe it's just people who are into body modification for whatever their reason, and he's just helping them out.
Yeah, your jeans fit a little funny. We can fix that for you. You wonder,
losing them up for you.
How would you franchise something like that?
Dude.
Great Clips.
Oh, my God.
Or Quick Clips. People would just come in and say, yeah, I want the $5 special. Just take a little off the bottom.
Oh, yeah. Just band it up and snippity snip.
Yeah. It's like they apparently they'd come home from the bar with him. He met him at a bar usually, from what I gather.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And then he'd take them home and numb the area. And I'm not going to go with the...
Numb.
Yeah, I'm not going to go for the obvious one on that. I was going to, but I decided not to. And... and for this Ball Quarterly or whatever, Ball Club Quarterly?
Yeah, Ball Club Quarterly.
Would that be a niche publication? Yeah.
Oh, jeez. Indeed.
That'd be a niche. That's what they call a niche publication.
Yeah.
Probably a small group of clientele.
I would assume so. That is such a wacky thing that even
there's got to be
existed.
less people into that than Walking Magazine.
Right.
It's like, because anytime you have anything that's more than 5 people do, they can have their own magazine.
Oh, for sure.
We know we're up more than 5 because he admitted to 5.
For sure. There existed a publication about this. This is like pre the internet being big and everything. There was enough of this that there was a publication, Ball Club Quarterly.
Yeah, well, I'm just glad that he brought them and did it at his place.
Right? No, dude, in his kitchen.
In his
kitchen. He had his roommate's the one who turned him in. He had a roommate who said he'd been doing it for 4 years, or that he'd known he was doing it for 4 years on his kitchen. I mean, how did that even happen? Like, just lie down on the kitchen table there. Oh, just move that sandwich. That's my roommate's. Oh, you sat. He won't mind. It'll be fine. Like, what?
Yeah, I'm like, I can never eat here again.
How could you be that guy's roommate? Obviously, they knew each other for like 4 years, so they both got to be kind of freaks, right?
Yeah, you can't move in with some, leases, as far as I know, are like 1 year, right?
Yeah.
If he's 4 years in and then complaining.
And that's what I was saying, too. 9 testes. So, okay, 5 guys, whatever. 4 years. Those are no way. No way.
There's more.
Only 5.
There's more, but it's one of those things like.
Oh, they got him for 5. That's it.
Yeah. Well, just because they only found 9 testicles doesn't mean there weren't more when they started.
That number kills me. Oh, dude.
I'm saying, I'm not thinking he's trying to provide a medical. I'm thinking he's taking care of a serious urge of his own.
Dude, probably. Well, and okay, so part of, I believe this is what the roommate said. So much of this is just kind of, looked up crap off the internet. There's some forums and stuff, so I don't know how much this is substantiated. But he was saying, oh, geez, what was I getting at? I know he was talking about doing this to little kids or to younger boys and stuff. And, let's see.
He wanted to start a choir.
He was,
right?
Dude, that was a thing too back in the day.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was big.
It makes your voice so sweet.
Yeah. I guess.
Either that or he was starting an army of the Unsullied.
Huh?
Game of Thrones reference.
Oh, man, I don't know that one yet.
Oh, you missed it, man. That's a good one.
Yeah, maybe I'll get into it one of these days. But no, he was I don't think they ever got him on any charges or anything for this. The only charge was the performing castrations or whatever without a license.
Yeah,
but
performing medicine without a license.
Yeah, he was selling the videos and stuff allegedly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he probably sold the testes too. I was
gonna say
the combo, the testes and the video that go along with it.
Yeah, we call it a paperweight.
Dude.
But I was saying earlier, it's a good thing that he did this at his home though, because if he was like going to their place, you always see those people that go out and they do like a drug deal and then they get pulled over for a random traffic stop, and then when the cops are coming to the car, they try to swallow all the evidence.
Oh, jeez.
It's like, sir, what are you eating in there?
He's got both of his mouth puffed out like a chipmunk.
We found surgical equipment, some empty jars, and one testicle rolling around on the floorboard. Something's got to be up here.
An empty ball mason jar.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Yeah, but so I was thinking like, okay, maybe this guy ain't all bad. Maybe he's like, because there's obviously these freaks want this done, or these, I guess maybe I'm being mean calling them freaks. They're freaks, but they want this done. Fine. So I was thinking that, and let's see. Oh well, first before I get to this, he was sentenced from the original for all that. He could have gotten up to 8 years, and I think it was $10,000. I think I'd have to double check that. Yeah. He ended up getting 4 years, 2.5 suspended. Not sure what that means, and credit for 69 days. So credit for the time he'd already been in jail or whatever.
Credit for 69, old Edward Bodkins.
Perfect.
Now, would that be 69 or would that be 68.5?
Oh man, 68.5. He lost that one.
Yeah, with missing, one side's missing a little bit.
Yeah, the dude who did I say that the dude who lost one, he almost bled out and died, so they took him to the hospital. Oh,
and they're like, "How'd you do that?" I wrecked my bike.
Yeah, I slipped. Dude.
Huh? I wrecked my bike. Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, but maybe this guy's just kind of helping out in a market that needs some help, right? So cool. But in 2011, his home was searched after the Massachusetts Department of Corrections Treatment Center for Sexually Dangerous People, the MDCTC SDP.
Ooh.
They intercepted child porn that Bodkin was sending to a friend there or to an inmate.
Yeah.
Like, because they're not going to catch that coming in, right?
Yeah.
Dude, just send this to a prison. It's just kiddie porn.
Now, they raided his house after that.
Uh-huh.
And they found more medical equipment and a huge pile of kiddie porn. So I'm not believing his I just want to help the masses argument.
Dude, no, he was pretty messed up with that. Let's see. So I'm not sure how much of this actually was kiddie porn or what it all was. I seen something like there was 80 different videos of actual kiddie porn and over like 1,000 photos. I don't know. But they say that in his home there was 100 VHSs and 500 DVDs related to the investigation. So, and then tools and pictures of more castrations.
Yeah.
So I don't know that they didn't get him for anything more, but dude, did he ever quit?
I'm not thinking he did. Did you see a picture of him?
Dude, he's a creeper. Total creeper. Yeah.
Yeah. You gotta put a picture up.
Yeah, I think I'll see if I can throw it in here. Look at this mug shot. Oh, what a beauty. Why aren't they coming up right? Oh, we're visiting websites now. Yeah, well, look him up, people. He is definitely something else. I mean, I came across worse ones, though, but this guy was local, so we stuck with him.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Man.
It's like I wanted to do something about a crazy person that wasn't actually killing somebody. I mean, this guy... And I wish we could have gotten the audio of the reporters.
Yeah, talking to his coworkers and stuff. Right?
Because it was insane. You're like, yeah, man, he freaked us out. He ate out of like, this dude was the weirdest dude ever. You never hear that, you know?
Right.
I was like, yeah, well, he seemed normal to us.
Yeah, well, that's even his roommate. His roommate had to be such a freak too, because he turns him in and is like, he's a really smart guy and has always been really nice. He's been talking about this for over 4 years though, and he's been cutting people's balls off on the kitchen table. Other than that, he's a great guy.
He's a great guy. Edward Bodkin.
Yeah, he good old Huntington.
Yeah, I was wondering, I don't know the timing. But I remember when hacky sack was big. You ever heard of hacky sack?
Oh, yeah, of course.
I wonder if he had any impact on that, because you're kicking a little ball around and trying to keep it from hitting the ground. Maybe he invented that.
Right? He took the balls out, and then with the leftover
his kitchen accidents, he's trying to keep it off the floor, huh? Yeah.
He didn't want to drop it.
Yeah.
He doesn't believe in the 5-second rule.
It's a little ball about that big around that you're keeping it. Your kid's kicking one ball around. Well, it sounds fitting.
Is this a cheese ball?
A hacky sack. It's just insane. I remember when all this was hitting the news, and we're like, "What?
Oh yeah,
heck no."
Oh yeah.
and it always seems like something crazy happening down in Huntington.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll touch on a few more, because they had some really crazy stuff going on there, and it's like every 10 years something really crazy happens there. It's got to be in the water. It's got to be in the water.
Right. Yeah.
And that's where Dan Quayle came from.
Yeah. That was Bush's VP, right?
Yeah, the vice president.
Yeah.
Wonderful guy. The
Yeah.
guy that corrected the kid at the spelling bee for not putting E on the end of potato.
Potato-y.
Pardon me, son, but you forgot the E.
Kid's like, what?
And he's like, and this guy's running our country?
Yeah, right? Correcting me? What the
Yeah.
fuck? Nice.
Yeah, use that in a sentence, butthole.
Potato-y.
Potato-y.
All right, awesome. Well, that's our history for the week. See, man, anything else? What else will we talk about today? Did we miss anything with your wrestling stuff?
Well, there's lots that will come out more. I'm sure we're going to do a few
Awesome.
more of
Dude,
these.
those videos were so cool. I was watching with my wife earlier, and I was cracking up so much. It seems like you've changed your character a bit.
Well, they made me for the longest time I was a heel.
Yeah,
which is,
yeah.
is the bad guy. And when I first started out, this is another funny story from early on in. When I first started out, Dick the Bruiser he says, I think I'm going to have you be a heel. I'm like, oh, man, you know, I want the people to cheer for me.
Right,
I'm
right.
a good guy.
Be the champ.
And he said, son, let me tell you something. He says, bad guy wrestlers fill more seats at wrestling shows than
Right.
good guys do. I'm like, really? He goes, yeah. He goes, you know why? I'm like, well, I can't do the voice. He had a real gravelly voice. But he was always telling the funniest stories. He says, well, you know why? And I'm like, no, I don't know why. He says, because hate is a stronger emotion than like. He says, more people will pay to see somebody they really hate get his butt kicked than to see somebody they kind of like win.
Heck yeah.
He says, let me give you, for instance, he says, you ever hear the story about people that track somebody down cross country? He says, do they ever do that to hand them money? No, they don't.
Right.
They do that to shoot him dead.
Right. Yeah, revenge.
Without
and stuff,
good bad guys, there cannot be good guys.
Heck yeah.
So I was all in at that point. I'm 18 years old. I'm like, cool. And I'll tell you what, being the bad guy wrestler is way more fun than being the good guy.
Heck yeah.
So then I'm doing this show last month in my hometown, the one you watched.
Uh-huh.
And
yeah, you had to be the good guy.
and I had to be the good guy. I had to be the baby face.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
You're not a baby face.
I'm like, wow, that does not compute. I mean, I look mean as hell going to the ring.
Right? Yeah.
I mean, you saw me walk across there. I do a great mean. And
Yeah.
the great thing about being able to do a great mean, I got really good at looking mean. I very seldom have to be mean anymore.
Right? Just give him the look.
Yeah, it's like great. So I'm like, I'm talking to Bruiser Jr. now that's at this show. I'm like, hey, Bruiser, man, they made me a face. He goes, really? What, are they crazy? He told me one time, he goes, I don't know what it is about you. He says, but nobody can piss off a crowd like you
Right.
can.
Yeah, I was kind of bummed to not see that in that
Yeah,
video.
I'm like, I consider it a talent.
Heck yeah.
The one thing I can really do is piss off a lot of people really quickly.
Oh yeah.
And seeing as it made me money, I can consider it a talent.
Right? Dude,
If
you
you
have
can-
some of the funniest lines. Like,
Yeah.
you tell
It's
me
like-
lines that you'd use at work. I
Oh,
was
yeah.
dying, man.
I'd get the mic at the beginning of a show, and I'd say something like this. I'd go, shut up, all you slack-jawed, gap-toothed idiots. And while you're at it, shut them big, fat, trog-up old ladies that you brought in with you and listen to what a real man has to say. You might just learn something. And then I'd go on to say something about the town like, you know, on the way to the ring, I passed a whole lot of people that look like they go to their family reunion and pass a tooth around to chew the corn on the cob. I could tell family dentistry sure went to hell when that veterinarian died.
Oh, jeez.
Now people are throwing stuff at me, and I always one time me and my brother are wrestling a tag team. And I'm looking over at a whole bleacher full of really heavy women, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And they're screaming, they're screaming at me, and I just looked at them and said, you know, I've heard enough from the Jenny Craig section.
Oh, snap.
Now they all jump up and they're stomping and they're throwing their popcorn and everything else. I'm like, ladies, it's not my fault. I'm sure if you laid down the ho-hos once in a while, you'd be fine.
Ooh.
Just stuff like that. I never cussed. I never flipped off the crowd.
Yeah.
Bruiser wouldn't allow that, so you
Just
had to be
poking
creative.
fun, yeah.
I had a shirt I wore to the ring for a while that on front it said, you stink.
Heck yeah.
And on the back it said, and you're ugly too.
Nice. Perfect. Heck
But that was
yeah.
much more fun. This show I did as a good guy, I'm like, everything I always did. I can't do anymore.
Right, dude. You were still good though. You did it well.
Well, I thank you very much.
Yeah, it was awesome. That was a really good show. That was fun, man. That dude filmed it awesome too. I'll put links to it and everything in the show notes because that's fun, and I hope people can check it out because it's a great show, man. It's so fun, you know.
Yeah, we tend to get a lot of crowd response, and it's a good time, and that was a fundraiser for the VFW.
Yeah, I think that's
VFW,
where it was.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I had a blast. I hung around till well after midnight that night.
Yeah.
Listening to
Even
the
though
band
you almost got your face
with
peeled off.
Yeah. That's,
that was so
well,
awesome.
the story about that is that's what I do.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah,
I've got
thought you
another
told me
picture we
that.
can add to that of me doing that to people
Awesome.
15 years ago.
Oh heck yeah, let's do it.
And I'd make them smile for their fans.
Smile.
And when I explained that to this guy I was wrestling, he said, "Well, can I do your stick against you?" And I'm like, "Yeah,
Heck
you
yeah.
can." I said, "There are two things. First of all, somebody's going to be fish hooked
Yeah.
because it's a Malachai match. And secondly,
Nice.
if you're going to heart punch me, when I go down, you turn around and you heart punch the referee too, because I always beat the hell
you
out of
did
the referee
too.
too.
Heck yeah.
That referee's
Nice.
like, "Don't do that to me."
He fell all the way out of the ring. It was
Yeah.
awesome.
and then I get up and I help him away from the ring.
You were the hero.
But I'm
They were
like-
Malachai's the real winner.
Yeah, it's like two things I always happen. I normally got disqualified a lot in my career. I got disqualified a lot, and I considered it a win. The only thing I considered a loss was a pin, and then people would be, "Oh, you lost, you got disqualified." And I'd be walking
Right.
away from the ring looking pretty, and he'd be up rolling around in the ring holding his head. I'm like, "That looks
Right.
like a winner to you?"
Yeah, for sure.
I don't remember getting pinned,
Right?
so I took that as a win. It's a win-win, a disqualification or a pin. It's a win
Yeah.
for Malachai.
There you go.
So I can't wait till we get together and figure out something else to do the next one on.
Heck yeah, man. Sounds awesome. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for coming on. This has been a good time. Hold on. Actually, let's see. I got for Malachai's Madcast. I came up with I'm loving this. This is my new joke book. I got a joke for you. It seemed right online, right? So, all right, let's see. Let me pick one of these. These are all the best. All right, man. Here we go. Willie saw some dynamite. Couldn't understand it quite. Curiosity never pays. Rained Willie for 7 days.
Darn straight. Sounds like a reasonable story to me.
Awesome. All right, man. Well, thank you for doing my podcast.
Hey,
It's been a good time.
No, this is Malachai's podcast.
No, hey,
pal.
come on, man.
This is
No.
Malachai. This is the Madcast. And I will not stand here and put up with this. Yeah! Whose podcast is it now? Whose? Tap out, son. Tap out.
Too much fun. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Malachai. That was too much fun, man. Thank you to labels like Minds. They're not around anymore. They're doing other things, I hear. That's Ryan, Owen, and Eric. Thank you, guys. I missed those times when we were growing up. I hope you guys like the music. Did you guys hear that sound effect under the Malachai's Madcast? That's Owen. That was the keyboardist of the band. We were like kids back then, man. So I hope you guys think it's cool. It's maybe not the highest fidelity or whatever, but man, it was cool stuff that these guys were doing back in the day, and I appreciate it. All right, that's it, man. I gotta quit talking. I can't talk anymore. I sound terrible. I'm kind of having fun recording like this though. It's like maybe my new singing voice. Like I can't sing. I got them. Smoke too much blues, yeah. This is Labels Like Minds with the Agonizing Skew. Thank you, everyone.